6:18 on this Saturday morning, which for most areas is starting out clear. A little dew on the cars perhaps if you left those outside, because it is cool. We're in the upper 40s and lower 50s around the Pikes Peak region. Woodland Park right now at 50 on the nose. As seen there from the Greater Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center, not a cloud in the sky over the top of Pikes Peak, and there's really no wind of note either. Steel City pretty cool too. We're in the mid-50s. Good sleeping weather last night. Of course, much of last week that was true as it was relatively cool. The wind right now is not much of a factor. It's very light coming out of the west at 3 miles an hour. So we're still tracking that monsoon flow, which the water vapor shows is all this milky white that you see, so it's over the area. And we certainly expect that that'll be enough in and of itself to kick off some thunderstorms again this afternoon. Right now, as I mentioned, we have mainly 40s and 50s out at lower elevations. Leadville's dropped off to the freezing mark, and Alamosa's down in the mid-30s, so some of the mountain valleys have gotten pretty cool, and as the nights get longer, that'll become more common. Skycast shows good bit of sunshine at least through lunchtime, and then big surprise as we move into the afternoon, the clouds will start to build. And you do see Skycast showing some spotty thunderstorms across the area, but spotty is the term that I think we should focus on today, as we're not expecting anything real widespread. Numbers will start to come up this afternoon as well, back closer to seasonal averages with 80s at lower elevations, and in some cases well into the 80s out east. Look for 70s in the mountain valleys, probably 60s over many of the mountain areas. Leadville today might not get out of the 50s, so stay pretty cool up there. Skycast shows storms drifting towards the east through this evening. Notice there are some pockets where we see some yellows and oranges on the map, and that's just an indication that some of the stronger cells could still produce some bursts of heavy rain. For most of us, I don't think that'll end up causing too much trouble, but if one of these cells were to drift over one of the local burn scars, then we could have some trouble with flooding. Notice as well a little area of storms breaks out here later on this evening and into the night tonight on the far eastern plains. So wouldn't be surprised if you get a bit of a light show out there tonight. That stuff will eventually drift off into Kansas and maybe alone by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow doesn't look all that much different than today. We may take the coverage of thunderstorms down just a little bit. We'll keep the temperatures in the low 80s in Colorado Springs. There's some indication we might cool off slightly early next week, but I'm only talking a few degrees here. Not quite like what we had this past week. And then we'll start to warm up again as we head towards the end of the week, with storms likely becoming a little bit less numerous, if not disappearing altogether by the time we hit Friday. Overnight lows most nights, probably in the 50s. Pueblo will have you in the mid to upper 80s for the next several days. Might get back into the 90s by Thursday and Friday. So I do think that this next week is going to be quite a bit warmer than last week was. Overnight lows, though, should be falling into the 50s, so even with the warm afternoons, I think you'll be pretty comfortable at night. Open the windows up, cool the house down, and get some sleep. Canyon City, look for low to mid 80s for the next several days. Thunderstorm chances probably on the decrease overall. Once we hit the middle of next week, I don't think those chances are pretty good for you anymore. So we'll have a pretty warm end of the week. Again, overnight lows, though, not too bad in the mid 50s. Mountain areas, 70s most days, maybe 60s on Tuesday. Not going to rule out the threat for some storms any given day over the mountain areas in particular. And it'll be cool at night with lows in the 40s. None of those days really stand out as, oh, wow, this day is going to be really crazy, or the storms are going to be really strong. We should expect a lot of flooding. Looks like garden variety stuff pretty much each and every day. But certainly enough to chase you inside if you have some stuff going on outside.
Definitely in Pueblo. I like looking into the 90s almost.
Yeah, by the end of the week, it looks pretty nice. It's a pattern change from last week. We had several fronts come in, and if you woke up in the morning, you know it was not feeling very summer-like last week.
No, not at all. So we can use a little warm-up.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Marty.
You're welcome.